How does it all look? Is my hair good? It's all good.
Because I'm from the States, you don't grow up with the same understanding of the royal family.
Well, that's just not true.
I didn't know much about him.
Well, that's just not true. I'm not sure exactly what the outcome will be, but definitely not good.
Ghislaine Maxwell is serving 20 years in federal prison, and according to legal sources, she's started talking. Names, dates, details. One name is causing panic in Montecito, California, the Duchess of Sussex. Not Duchess Meghan, before Meghan, the version before the palace, the one at Soho House events with wealthy private men, the lifestyle that didn't match a TV actress' salary. People whispered back then. Now those whispers matter. Prince Harry just rushed back to the UK, to the family he destroyed. The walls are closing in. Let's dive in.
There's no list. We'll start with that.
Tonight, that bombshell verdict. Ghislaine Maxwell guilty on 5 of 6 counts.
Ghislaine Maxwell's life ended the day that verdict was read. Not literally, but in every way that mattered to someone like her. Think about who she was. Not just wealthy, connected. She wasn't the richest person in the room, but she was often the most important because she controlled something money couldn't buy. Access to the right people at the right time. That was her entire world. Opening doors, making introductions, curating environments where powerful men felt comfortable. And now, she's inmate number 02879-509 at FCI Tallahassee. No appeals left. No powerful friends returning her calls. No back-channel deals being negotiated on her behalf. People like Ghislaine stay quiet when they have leverage. They protect secrets when silence serves them. They remain loyal when there's still a chance someone might help them. But loyalty requires hope, and Ghislaine has none left. So what does someone in that position do? Someone who spent decades at the center of elite networks, who witnessed things powerful people assumed would never see daylight. They talk, not vaguely, not in careful language designed to protect the guilty, but specifically, with names attached, with dates, with locations that can be verified. According to sources close to the legal proceedings, that's exactly what's happening. Ghislaine has started cooperating with federal investigators. She's providing detailed information about her years facilitating connections for wealthy, powerful men. And here's what makes this particularly explosive. She's not just naming the obvious targets, the people everyone already suspected. She's identifying the periphery, the people who weren't in the inner circle, but who orbited close enough to see things, to be present at events, to move through spaces where the lines between socializing and something much darker got very blurred. When someone like Ghislaine starts talking, the damage doesn't begin in newspapers. It starts in private phone calls, emergency meetings, lawyers being retained without explanation. And according to insiders, one of those shockwaves hit California hard. But to understand why that matters, we need to look at a world most people never see. Soho House. Beautiful spaces, creative people, a members-only club stretching across major cities worldwide. On paper, it's elegant and harmless. A place where actors, filmmakers, and artists can network away from public scrutiny. But Soho House served another purpose that wasn't printed on membership applications. It was a bridge, a connector between worlds that don't usually mix in public. Old money meant new ambition there. Royal adjacency brushed shoulders with Silicon Valley wealth. People who craved the spotlight mingled with people who spent fortunes avoiding cameras.
Meghan was an Epstein girl, that she worked in the adult entertainment industry, and that she was...
Meghan Markle was a regular fixture at Soho House events across multiple continents. Not as a celebrity, not as someone being celebrated, she occupied a different role, one that insiders describe with a specific term: atmosphere. Someone who fills a room, keeps energy high, makes important guests feel comfortable and entertained.
So Ghislaine is saying these things, that there are documents talking about Meghan Markle in the early years and her connection to this world with Jeffrey Epstein.
Now, these weren't Tuesday night mixers. These were invitation-only gatherings that attracted a very specific demographic: wealthy men, private men, the kind who valued discretion above everything else. Here's what caught people's attention back then. The lifestyle that came with this level of access didn't match Meghan's known income. She was a supporting actress on Suits. Her salary was roughly $50,000 per episode. Decent money, but not enough to explain what people were witnessing. First-class international flights, 5-star accommodations across multiple continents, designer wardrobe, constant presence at exclusive events in different countries. Nobody made accusations, but people in those circles have good memories. They notice patterns. They do mental math, and the math didn't work. In elite social environments, you don't confront what you can't prove. You don't throw around accusations without concrete evidence. You simply observe. You remember who was where, when, and with whom. Those observations don't disappear just because time passes. They wait. But memories that seemed irrelevant years ago can suddenly become very relevant when the person you were quietly observing ends up marrying into one of the most famous families on Earth. Fast forward several years. Those quiet observations didn't vanish. Then, something extraordinary happened. The woman who'd been moving through exclusive spaces with unexplained access was suddenly on every television screen in the world, not as atmosphere, as royalty. Meghan Markle was marrying Prince Harry. The narrative presented to the public was straightforward. A successful actress meets a prince. A modern fairy tale, a breath of fresh air for a stuffy institution. But for people who'd known her before, who'd seen her at those gatherings, who'd noticed the travel patterns, who'd wondered about the financial math, this wasn't a simple love story. It was a reframing. Her past didn't disappear when she walked down that aisle at Windsor Castle. It just got painted over, given a new context, presented through a different lens. And for a while, that worked. The palace is very good at absorbing complicated histories. They know how to manage narratives, how to bury what needs burying, how to present carefully curated versions of reality. But here's what changed the equation. Soho House wasn't operating in isolation. It overlapped with other social networks, other exclusive circles, other environments where wealthy, powerful men gathered. Some of those circles had direct connections to Jeffrey Epstein's world. At the time, those connections felt distant, separated by several degrees. Easy to dismiss as coincidental, but distance shrinks rapidly once names start appearing in federal investigations, once testimony gets given under oath, once what was whispered speculation becomes part of an official legal record. The palace has protocols for managing these situations. They've survived scandals before, but there's a critical difference this time. During the civil case that destroyed Prince Andrew's public life, something highly unusual occurred. Meghan Markle's name came up in legal proceedings, not as a defendant. That distinction is crucial. She wasn't being accused of any crime. She wasn't being sued. She was identified as someone who might have relevant information, someone who could potentially provide testimony, a potential witness.
Let's not forget that Virginia Roberts called her as a witness because she had information about it.
According to sources with knowledge of the legal proceedings, investigators considered calling Meghan for 3 specific reasons. First, her confirmed location during certain key time periods that mattered to the case. Second, her documented proximity to Prince Andrew during social events. Third, her verified presence in social spaces that overlapped with Epstein-connected circles during years central to the investigation. She was ultimately not called to testify. The legal team moved forward without her involvement. But here's what people miss about that moment. The fact that her name even appeared in that context means something crucial happened behind closed doors. Her history was examined. Her movements during specific years were mapped. Her social connections were analyzed by people whose job is finding patterns that matter in legal proceedings. Once that happens, it doesn't just disappear because the case ends. It becomes part of a permanent record. And with Ghislaine Maxwell now allegedly providing detailed testimony about her years operating in these exact social circles, those archived questions don't fade away. They multiply. But this brings us to the image that's dominating headlines right now. Prince Harry sat across from Oprah Winfrey, and systematically dismantled his family's reputation in front of a global audience. He detailed allegations of racism, he called them cold and cruel, he painted the institution as fundamentally toxic. He didn't just leave the royal family, he made sure everyone knew exactly why. He wrote an entire memoir exposing private conversations, he gave interviews describing the palace as his prison. He built a new life in California, a life supposedly based on freedom, authenticity, and permanent distance from the system he'd escaped. And yet, when pressure started building, where did he go? Straight back to London. Not for a scheduled event, not for reconciliation, not to apologize, for protection. Because here's the truth Harry knows. The royal family has infrastructure for surviving scandals that would destroy any normal institution. They have legal teams that specialize in making problems disappear. They have relationships with media outlets going back generations. They have protocols developed over centuries for containing explosions before they happen. Harry walked away from all of that protection. He mocked it publicly. He called it suffocating and outdated. And now, faced with questions that might not stay buried, he may need that institutional protection more than ever. He chose pride over pragmatism, independence over infrastructure, and now he's frantically trying to undo those choices. But there's one question that determines whether Harry is a victim or a willing participant. What did Harry actually know about Meghan's past, and when did he know it? These aren't abstract questions. They determine the entire moral architecture of the story. If he knew about her background, about the circles she'd moved in, about the unexplained lifestyle, about the questions that lingered, then he made a conscious choice. He chose to help construct a narrative that buried those details, to present a sanitized version of her history to his family and the world. That makes him complicit. But if he didn't know, if he was so dazzled by romance that he never asked the hard questions, then he's been living a lie. A lie that now threatens his children, his reputation, any possibility of a normal future. Either answer is devastating. This isn't tabloid speculation anymore. This is about documented presence in specific locations during specific time periods. This is about questions raised by federal investigators in an actual legal case. This is about testimony that might be given under oath. The past doesn't stay buried forever, and when the truth finally demands to be heard, no amount of carefully crafted PR can make it go away. The fairy tale is over. If Ghislaine Maxwell continues talking, this story won't end with opinion pieces. It will end with sworn testimony, with legal records, with questions that demand answers in courtrooms. Harry understands this. That's why his pride suddenly evaporated. That's why he's back on British soil. He didn't come back because he missed home. He came back because the past stopped being past tense. The walls are closing in, and the only institution powerful enough to potentially survive what's coming is the same one Harry spent years destroying. Some truths, once they start emerging, can't be stopped. So here's my question for you. Did Harry know all along, or is he just finding out now? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this opened your eyes to what's really happening behind palace doors, smash that like button, share this with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe, because this story is far from over. More is coming.